Final Four. Who started that?
No, it didn't start in the Final Four. It started, at the Big East Championship or in the regionals at some point. Somebody on our team just decided we're not doing that, and it just stuck. So I don't think we've cut them down unless we won a national championship.
Renee? Was it Renee?
Might have been.
That's what Carl thinks.
Maybe. Well, if he says it, it's true. If Carl says it, it's true.
Geno, team win. Every player you brought in seemed to step up at just the right time when you needed it to carry you through.
That's what you need, as much as, Paige and Sarah did a lot of the really, really hard stuff. You need other people to do when their moment is on them. They need to deliver something, whether it's an offensive rebound by Aubrey, Caitlin, the left-handed drive to the basket, and then the get fouled and that cut to the basket for a layup. Those little moments, are what everybody else has to be able to do, while those other guys are taking care of the big moments, And we talked about it in the locker room afterwards. If Sarah and Paige play exactly like they did tonight, next weekend, and we don't get contributions from a lot of guys, we're not going to be able to win. So it's that simple.
Since Sarah gave me such a long answer to
Yeah?
describe her performance.
More than 3 words.
I don't
4
even
words,
need to
5
ask
words?
You. It was 7. And
7. Wow.
How would you describe her performance? I mean, we've been talking about her not looking like a freshman, but she was shot out of a cannon tonight.
No, 17 rebounds. She's undersized with all those guys she's battling against. We finally, and this is the first time that we've done it, we finally came to, Jamel and I sat down at one point yesterday and we said, that's it. We're gonna force her to shoot the ball. We're gonna force her to score. We're not gonna leave it up to her anymore. So we specifically put in 4 or 5 things for her where she knew when I catch it, I have to score. And you would say, well, why would you do that with a kid who's a freshman? Well, I knew it was going to be hard as hell for Paige to get going in the first quarter because I know what teams do to her, and it takes a while for it to shake itself out. So just like Ash kept us in the game the other day, Sarah just completely carried us, that whole first quarter, and she's the same no matter what, like she's the same tonight. That she was Saturday, and she didn't play great on Saturday, and she played incredibly well tonight. And she's exactly the same. You would never know. You would never know.
Von Hohenhofen hit that bucket at the end of the third. You guys were then down or up 5. What was the mood in the huddle on the bench? What was the message to the team? Were you concerned at all if they were going to be rattled, or how did they kind of keep their composure?
Yeah, there was a little bit of kind of a look of what are we going to do now, and we my coaching staff has been really, really good about my moments in the huddle, and so we kept the moments about this is what's going to happen next. A lot of times you're trying to, you're trying to fix what just happened so it doesn't happen again. But lately the timeout moments have been, this is what we're going to do now, and so we drew up a play, and that's the AZ3, right? When we came out of the timeout. And that kind of got us going again. And I don't know what would have happened if she hadn't made that shot. I don't know. But that kind of settled everybody down.
Why did you guys draw that play up for her when she was, struggling?
Yeah. I thought, as I'm drawing it up, I thought, I should go with Paige. But then I thought, well, we can't win this just by going to her the whole night. At some point, somebody else has got to make a shot. Maybe this will be it. maybe this will be the moment. And if it goes in, then maybe that gets her going and helps us next week too. Who knows? So, hunch, drew up something we hadn't run the whole game, and she knocked it in. Who knows? Who knows? How do you know it was a great decision? Because it worked.
You went to Aubrey late
Yeah.
there too. Just
Yeah.
what gave you the confidence in her in that moment?
They were really taking advantage of our lack of size in the lane, and they got to the rim really easy a couple times, a couple offensive rebounds, and when people offensive rebound, fouls follow, and it became a foul shooting contest, and I thought maybe, we can get a little more size in there, a little more quickness, and and I thought it kind of sort of stemmed the tide a little bit. But I also knew it would be a big help on the other end because she's good at getting us another possession, getting us an offensive rebound. So it just, again, we keep talking as a coaching staff. We said, do you think this is the right moment? Do you think this will be the right time? And it's like, yeah, this is the right moment right now. Let's go with it and see what happens.
What were you holding off on?
On who?
On Aubrey. Was it is it with the knee or?
Yeah, I mean, just I think the we're trying to figure out are we better off having more offensive players on the floor that can spread the floor, or do we need more defensive-minded players? And throughout Saturday and throughout this, we felt like we spread the floor, we get up 19 and it looks easy, doesn't it? Until all of a sudden they start, and then that makes us have to not worry about that and go to Aubrey.
Your posts had two big, assignments the last two games.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how they did the last two games?
They were unbelievable, yeah. It's such a size matchup, and we just need so much more from Jenna. That kid drives me crazy, and we need more from Ice, But until that happens, if it does happen, it's a lot. Sarah's got to do a lot. Jenna held her own a lot on Saturday. We try to play the mismatch game, Okay, they're really big. We probably can't guard them in there. One of those bigs is going to have to come out and guard Sarah. They can't guard her. So we're, trying to play that little chess game with them, and so far it's working. I don't know, again, that it can be great for us next weekend because those guys are really big.
Geno, two more to go, of course, but Paige has really laid a foundation for something that kind of has a storybook feel to it. What do you think about the way she's just dominated this region, the way she's met this moment? She's walking off to scores of little kids screaming towards her. It's like,
Yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of storybook.
Yeah.
Chapter of it, anyway.
There's been a lot of obstacles thrown in Paige's way, a lot of adversity that's come her way. We've all talked about it, whether the bubble or freshman year, not having a whole team her sophomore year when we're playing for the national championship, missing another year, playing shorthanded last year. So there's been one thing after another, and now, we've added a couple pieces this year that we didn't have, and so it feels like that it could actually all come together at this point in time, and maybe last year she thought it got to a point where she thought if I don't get 30, 35 points, we're going to lose. And I think now she's going out there and playing like, I want to get 30. Not like if I don't get 30, we're going to lose. I think she's got a whole different vibe about her. And it's maybe she's lighter, she's not putting as much pressure on herself, and it's just coming easier. And where that goes next week, I don't know. But I'm glad she's getting an opportunity. That's all you want, just an opportunity. It would have been really tragic. Not tragic, I mean, but it would have been really really disappointing to not be able to go this week.
Do you hear the echoes of those kids yelling as you're coming down the tunnel?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's I don't get it,
Kind
but
of indecisive.
yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. But it's crazy, you know. You got a kid with an American flag with Paige's picture on it, and you got adults walking around with, you know, Paige Bueckers jersey. You know, I mean, CD was telling me a picture of Karan Butler working out in Miami with a Paige Bueckers jersey. Like, you know, but you know, she has that effect on people, and God bless her, because when you have all that, sometimes there's a tendency to become, what if I can't live up to it? That's the biggest worry that I always have, that if a kid gets overwhelmed by the attention and the adulation and the expectation, that you're always scared of, what if at some point she wakes up in the morning and goes, what if I can't live up to it? And she, sucker, never does that.
She was saying when she finally leaves the court and gets back here just with her teammates, it's like she's just talking about, hey, we get to take another flight.
Yeah.
You know, we get to practice again. We got a couple more games.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Keep it
that's
rolling.
it. That's all it is. It's, do we want to keep playing, or are we done? And they don't look at it as, you know, anything bigger than that. And if, certainly Sarah doesn't. Certainly Sarah doesn't. You know, Caitlin Chen's excited as hell because, you know, this is what she hoped the change was all about. So, what were you going to say, Chantel?
When we were in the press conference, you said you'd sort of seen that optimism and positivity in Paige since the first time you saw her. I was just wondering, what was the first time that you saw her play?
The first time I saw her play when she was in high school, I thought, what's the hysteria about this kid? She was frail, could only go like, it's like a hockey. She could only go like a minute and a half at a time and then had to go sit down. You know, and when I would talk to her on the phone before she committed, she actually sounded like, well, I'm waiting to come to Connecticut after I see who else you guys have. And I went, okay. I didn't realize I was recruiting a assistant coach or general manager. And I said, you know, screw you. And, you know, she got all panicky and called CD, you know, and I didn't mean it that way, you know, all that stuff. So we had a lot of fun right from the very beginning. And when she got to UConn, her first week there, it was, yeah, I come with a lot of stuff, and I'm really good. And no matter how bad things were, it was always okay. We're in the bubble, it's okay. We're living, you know, isolated someplace, it's okay. We're playing in front of nobody, it's okay. You know, never ever complain about something that was a negative. She never turned anything into a negative. And that's so unusual, kids. No pouting, no pointing fingers. Always positive, always upbeat, always thinking the best of everybody. You know, she's got a lot of D in her. That no matter what I would say about another player on our team, God damn it, that kid, she'll go, nah, you know, they can do this. They're really good. They're really good at this. Always sees the best in everybody. Refreshing.
Did you have a moment with her out on the court or in the locker room yet?
In the locker room, yeah. In the locker room. You know, a little bit. Just at this time, you know it's coming to an end. And it's going to end whether you want it to or not, whether you like it or not. You can't prevent it. And you just want to make it the best weekend of her career at UConn. And it's my job to help her do that.
Caitlin Chen really stepped up in the game today.
Oh yeah, she was great.
How great has it been to see her kind of step up in these big moments, especially in a different role from last year?
Ever since she got to UConn, I've always felt a certain level of confidence with her because she comes from a great program. She's, well coached. She's a tough kid. She's used to being counted on. She was the go-to player there for, almost her entire career at Princeton. So she's not going to shy away from, doing some great things. And it was great. It's exactly what our team needed because our guards are so young, But no, I believe in Caitlin Chen a lot, and she never disappoints.